What's going on, guys? Plot Armor Cards in the house, and today I'm coming to you with an XYZ Shark deck. And just a couple things before we get started, guys. One is I'm not running Beatunaiful Princess in this deck, simply because I didn't want to pay like $13 each for 3 copies. But if you have the money to pay for it, or you happen to have 3 copies, I would definitely recommend running 3 of those. If you guys like what you see, please like, comment, and subscribe. And now you can follow me on Instagram, actually, Plot Armor Cards. On Instagram with Plot Armor Cards. So without further ado, let's get started. So firstly, we got the monsters. I like to play 3 copies of Right Hand Shark. And so Right Hand Shark's effect is, when this card is normal summon, you can add 1 Left Hand Shark from your deck to your hand, which is in this deck as well. Just stay tuned. If this card is in your graveyard and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card. Now this is very good just to get off extra XYZ summons. Let's say I run out of cards in my hand, and then I happen to draw 1 card, which is just 1 level 4 monster. Then I can bring this from the graveyard and summon that level 4 and go straight into an XYZ summon. So that's pretty good. Now let's keep going. But you banish it when it leaves the field. Next, an XYZ monster that was special summoned using only water monsters as material, including this card on the field, gains this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. This is a really good effect for the XYZ monsters, as we'll see. Next, I like to run 2 copies of the earlier mentioned Left Hand Shark. Left Hand Shark has a pretty decent effect as well. If this card is special summoned from the graveyard, its level becomes 4. You can use each of the following effects of Left Hand Shark once per turn. If you control Right Hand Shark, and this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. An XYZ monster summoned using only water monsters as material, including this card on the field, gains this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Now this card is really good because Right Hand Shark essentially searches Left Hand Shark, and then you can automatically summon Left Hand Shark. But the problem is this is a level 3. So if you play this from your hand, this is a level 3. So it kind of messes with your combos. If you happen to bring this back from the graveyard, though, this is good because you can make this level 4. Next up, I like to play 3 copies of Silent Sea Nettle. Silent Sea Nettle is another one of those newly released cards. It's still pretty cheap, though. Its effect is, if you control a water monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's very good. You cannot special summon monsters except water monsters. As a turn, you activate this effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard. You can target 3 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck. You can only use each effect of Silent Sea Nettle once per turn. Now, this is a good, very good recycling effect. And secondly, obviously, this deck is just entirely water monsters. So as you'll see, it doesn't matter what you have. As long as you can summon a water monster, this thing is going to help you get off your XYZ summons. Next, I like to play 3 copies of Ice Knight. Ice Knight is a pretty good card as well. 2 and 3. Ice Knight's effect is, it gains 400 attack for each aqua monster you control. That part isn't really any that good to us. And then once per turn, you can activate this effect. You can normal summon 1 water monster during your main phase this turn, in addition to your normal summon / set. And you can only use this effect once per turn. And you cannot normal summon or special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except water monsters. So that's very good because let's say I have a bunch of cards in my hand. Let's say I have an Ice Knight, a Left Hand Shark, and a Right Hand Shark, right? So I can then summon the Ice Knight. That allows me 1 more summon. So then I can normal summon the Right Hand Shark. And then that allows me to add the Left Hand Shark to my hand. And then I can special summon it, and then combos can keep going on. That's really good. Next, I like to play 3 copies of Lantern Shark. Lantern Shark is pretty decent too, guys. Lantern Shark's effect is, if this card is normal special summoned, you can activate this effect. You can special summon 1 level 3, 4, or 5 water monster from your hand in defense position, except Lantern Shark. You also cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except XYZ monsters. You can only use this card of Lantern Shark once per turn. If this card is used for the XYZ summon a water monster, it can be treated as a level 3 or 5 monster. So this is pretty decent with Left Hand Shark, because let's say I special summon this from my hand, right? So that's special summoned, and then I can summon this. If I do summon this, I can use this as a level 3, and I can make a rank 3 shark, which is decent. Moreover, the earlier combo I mentioned where I normal summon twice thanks to Ice Knight, it's actually better with this effect as well. Next, I like to play 3 copies of Buzzsaw Shark. Now, Buzzsaw Shark has a pretty decent effect as well. Its effect is, you can target 1 water monster you control, special summon it from your deck In special summon from your deck in defense position 1 fish monster with the same level as that monster but a different name. And if you do, it cannot activate its effects for this turn. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except XYZ monsters. You also, you can only use this effect once per turn. If this card is used for an XYZ 7, it's also treated as a 3, or it can be treated as a 3 or 5. Really good card, guys. Pretty much can search any monster out of the deck. It's really, really good. I also like to run 3 copies of Silent Sea Angler. Silent Sea Angler's effect is, if you control a water monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, but you cannot special summon monsters from your hand for the rest of this turn. So this card, if it's in your hand, you want to use this at the end, because there's a lot of different cards that you can special summon from your hand, and then if you special summon this at the end, you can still get off all your combos, and then you'll be good. Next, I like to play 3 copies of Tenyi Spirit. I don't even know how to pronounce that, guys. It's Satana. I'm terrible. Its effect is, if you control no effect monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. So if you have this first turn, I do get it a lot first turn, actually. So I had to control nothing. So then I can special summon this straight away, and then I can pop out the rest of my combos. If a face-up non-effect monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard, target one of those destroyed monsters, special summon it, then you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. That second one isn't really useful to us, but we like the first effect that allows it to special summon itself. And it's a water, so it works really well with this deck. Next, I like to run 2 copies of 10 Goldfish. 10 Goldfish is really good, because if this card is normal summoned, you can special summon 1 level 4 from your hand. So it just pops off more and more combos. Next, I haven't seen too many people play this card, but I like to play 2 copies of White Stingray. And the reason I like to do that is because it can special summon itself by discarding 1 card from your hand. And if it does special summon itself, it's treated as a tuner. So I can actually run Synchro Monsters in this deck. And as you'll see, I do run Synchro Monsters in this deck. And lastly, for the monsters, I like to run 1 Barrier Statue of the Torrent. This is really good, because if I'm going first and I manage to get this out, my opponent can't special summon anything except for water. And most of the time, most people don't run waters. So it's a pretty good way to just get them to shut down. Up next are the spell cards for this deck. And first of all, I like to run 3 copies of White Mirror. Now this card is a must-have for this deck. I like to use it because its effect is, you can target 1 level 4 lower fish monster in your graveyard, special summon it, then you can add 1 monster from your deck to your hand with the same original name as a special summon monster. So not only can you special summon one in your graveyard, but you add the same card from your deck to your hand, which is why I like to run multiple copies of most of these cards. This card is really good. Like, let's say I XYZ summon, and then immediately I detach a material in order to use an effect. I will then use White Mirror to special summon that card I just detached, and then I will add another one of them to my hand, which is pretty good, guys. Next, I like to run 2 copies of Aquarium Stage. Aquarium Stage is really good for the one reason that water monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle with a non-water monster. That's the only effect that applies to this deck. That's really good. Next, I like to play 2 copies of Water Hazard. Now, I've seen a lot of shark decks online. I'm not quite sure why people don't play this, but this is a combo extender. Once per turn, if you control no monsters, you can special summon 1 level 4 lower water monster from your hand. So if I ever go first and I have this in my hand, or even if I have nothing on the field and I have this in my hand, play this, special summon 1, then you normal summon, and then a lot of them will just special summon, special summon, special summon, and you can get a lot of different combinations off. This card is good. I like to play 2 copies of Salvage. Now, Salvage allows me to get 2 water monsters with 1500 or less attack in my graveyard and put those targets back in my hand. So this card extends the deck pretty well. And I believe most of the cards have 1500 or less attack. Lastly, for the spell cards, I like to play 1 copy of Raigeki. Raigeki just to clear the board. Sometimes it comes in handy. I like to play 2 copies of Guzzin Match as well, because I only run water types. There's not a single monster in this deck that isn't a water type. And this card just makes it so my opponent has to have only a single type on the field. So most of the time that screws over decks. Lastly, we got our extra deck monsters. I like to play 2 copies of Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark is really, really good. So it takes 2 level 4 monsters. Is that going to focus? Any second now. Okay, so it takes 2 level 4 monsters, so you could pretty much make it with any single card in this deck. And its effect is, once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, special summon 1 rank 3 or lower water XYZ monster from your extra deck. And then this card cannot attack for the rest of the turn. Now, this card is a godsend in this deck. And let me show you why. Because this card works with that effect. Totally awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you can use this thing's effect, detach a material, summon a totally awesome to get your negates ready. That's really good. Next, I like to play 2 copies of number 4, Stealth Kraken. Number 4's effect is, the shininess is throwing off the camera, guys. Alright, so it's, again, generic level 2 water monsters, so this will work with pretty much anything in the deck. All face-up monsters in the field become water. Once per turn during the main phase, quick effect, you can destroy 1 water monster your opponent controls. And if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack on the field. Half of the attack it had on the field. If this XYZ summon card is destroyed, you can special summon 1 Stealth Kraken spawn from your extra deck. So this is really good just because this is decent at combo interrupting. So if your opponent is going off again combos, everything they have on the field is going to be water, right? So you can just destroy something they have and then interrupt their combo, which is pretty good. And then if it gets destroyed, you can summon Stealth Kraken spawn. I like to run 1 copy of Stealth Kraken spawn. Now, this thing's effect is... Oh my god, what is wrong with my camera today? Okay, 2 level 4 waters again, so once per turn during the main phase, quick effect, you can destroy 1 water monster your opponent controls. If this card special summoned by the effect of a number of XYZ monsters destroyed, you can special summon other Stealth Kraken monsters from your graveyard. So this is instant recycling, just over and over and over. Up to the number of materials this card had. So it depends on how many materials, so... then you can attach up to 1 water monster from your graveyard to each of those special summon monsters as material. So depending on how you play this, you can get a lot of recycling out of this. Next, I like to play 1 copy of Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller, as we all know, has a pretty good effect. This effect is... Any second now. Well, this card has a material attached to it that was originally water. All water monsters you control gain 500 attack. That one, not so much. But the second one, once per turn, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card and your opponent cannot activate card effects in their graveyard this turn. This shuts down a lot of different decks. A lot of different decks, guys. Next, I like to play 1 copy of number 101, Silent Honor Arc. Any second. Then I like to play 1 copy of number 32, Shark Drake. Now, this one isn't really necessary to put in this deck, but I've found that a lot of the cards in this deck, the main weakness I've at least found in this deck is that I can't get over monsters a lot of times because of the attack. So I like to use this just for attack purposes. I would definitely recommend, if you don't want this, put it in AA Zeus. Definitely, put it in AA Zeus. Next, we have a number 47, Nightmare Shark, and a number 37. Hope Woven Spider Shark, I believe it's called. Hope Woven Dragon Spider Shark. And then lastly are my 3 synchro monsters. I like to play 1 copy of Adamancipator Rising Dragite for the negate. I like to play 1 copy of White Aura Whale. White Aura Whale is pretty good, guys. Let me read its effect. Its effect is when this card is synchro summoned, you can destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters. This just wipes their board. And this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. So if this attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. That's really good, guys. If this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card by battle or effect, and is sent to the graveyard, you can banish 1 other water monster from your graveyard, special summon this card, and if you do, is treated as a tuner. So this card will always come back. Always come back. And then lastly, I like to run 1 copy of Grail Dragon. And that's all the cards in my shark deck, guys. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. And you can follow me on Instagram at Plot Armor Cards. And oh my goodness, look at the time.
It's time to do